Busted. Guys, we figured this one out. Let's break it all down and talk it over. What is up, gang? Carlton Flowers here with the Go Political channel, and have we got an exciting follow-up video today of the Dolton Chronicles episode 3 video. The comments in this video were so good that I've decided that we've got to do a review and share the comments with everyone. All right. We got this one busted down and figured out, and it was a group effort. So congratulations to everyone who participated in the comment section. And now I am going to read some of the best comments and information, and we're going to break down exactly what was happened with the fraudulent check. I tell you, the tomfoolery is really going on. That's why I had to put on the Tom and Jerry shirt today, because it's just so appropriate. So we're going to start this one off with the pinned comment. And I tell you what, before I even jump into this, you want to like the video and subscribe and tick the notification bell right now, because I got so much coming your way. You're not going to miss a single, you're not going to want to miss a single edition of the Go Political coverage of the Dolton Chronicles and this information that we are breaking down and figuring out. And as I promised, I've got a lot coming your way this week. So be there, participate, and let's get this action going. All right, the next edition of the Dolton Chronicles, episode 4, is coming your way. But first, we're going to break down episode 3. All right, so jumping straight into it, we're going to start with the comment I had to pin. And this is what motivated me to share a video where we're just going to roll over all of the top comments on the action from episode 3. And this one is by Glenn Copeland, Pop Quiz. And I'm going to read this entire response. There's several paragraphs, and it was so good, I've got to share the whole thing, and then we'll discuss it. So he starts out with this. He says, hold it. A check or warrant from the village of Dalton was fraudulently cleared, and the assigned payee or vendor never got paid, yet they're just going to issue a replacement check or warrant without any questions asked? Pretty dubious. Where is that slimy police chief? Well, we know whose payroll he's on. My guess is that someone at the village is colluding with someone at the bank where the village has their checking account. My second guess is that the white boy Chris from Accounts Payable, or possibly the controller from the village, has been singing like a birdie to the feds and just about every other law enforcement entity except the one Chief Lacey heads up. There were so many things wrong with what Ms. Henyard said about contract and payments when it comes to municipalities or municipalities governed by state contract and bid laws and resulting payments. Just because there is an award of contract doesn't automatically, see what he did there, mean that the vendor gets paid. By that logic, there would be no need to have payments placed on a warrant list for approval by the board after all the checks and verifications were done regarding the work to completion by the managers and engineers that followed the proper process to bid the work out in the first place. That's what I've been saying all along. All right, continuing on. I can't count how many times I almost lost it at the screen while watching this video. I feel your pain. And for Tiff to come out and say that the Board of Trustees needs to learn Robert's Rules of Orders was just icing on the cake. This mini dictator needs to learn public business and contract law at a basic level, but it's too late now. She will be going to jail unless Biden pardons her. Well, if he can wake up long enough to pardon her. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And where the heck has the village attorney been when these shenanigans were going down? I'm really starting to think that the law firm Delgado Law Group is grossly incompetent in the least and possibly complicit in the worst. I'll have to go for the latter. The leads that are just out there for prosecutors to look into is astounding. With these meetings being online and an absolute treasure trove of misdeeds, missteps, and potentially felonious acts. Amen to that, brother. If I was Mayor Pro Tempore Jason House, I would be checking. Whoops, that's the phone ringing. Disrupting me. I need to put that on silent because we got too much to talk about. Okay. Let's see. Getting back to where I was. If I was Mayor Pro Tempore Jason House, I would be checking with the State Attorney General's office on conducting any ongoing business at this point without having competent representation from an attorney for the village guiding their process. I would also be looking to see what is needed to revoke any power from Mayor Tiffany Henyard and Keith Freeman have on the village council once they are indicted. Very good point. At a minimum, I would hope that they could put them on administrative leave. That seems like it would be the obvious thing to do. Hopefully unpaid while waiting the results of trials. But sadly, they would probably need to put them on paid administrative leave. I would agree with that. And finally, the Thornton Township needs to start a forensic accounting of all payments and contracts submitted since Tiffany and Keith have been in their positions there. And it needs to be done by a reputable forensic accounting firm with subpoena authority. I have a feeling we haven't heard the last of news out of the township. Crooks always thinking that they are smarter than everyone else. We know that they're not. And they're always too greedy. One contract screw up is a mistake, but there seems to be a pattern here. Yes, there is an absolute pattern here. Sorry this was so long. No need for you to apologize. There is a ton to cover, and having past experience of being on technology bond committee for one of the largest school districts in Texas, Arlington ISD. As a matter of fact, my daughter lives in Arlington. And now in my current job as principal engineer and senior project manager for a public utility in the state of Washington, I am constantly reminded about the process and procedures for bids, bonds, and payments on a daily basis. Navigating the waters of all these processes is not always easy or timely, but the cost for not following the laws will cost you your job. Excellent detective work. I can't wait for more. Glenn Copeland. That was just one of the best and most thorough responses I have ever seen. Great work, Glenn, fellow engineer. It's so great to hear from someone who has the experience in government work, in contracting, in engineering, and I could not have said it better. Amen. A+. You get an A+ for this paper, and I might have to convert this into a blog post. As a matter of fact, I am going to be starting the Go Political blog, and so this will have to be one of the first entries. So great job, Glenn Copeland. Pop quiz. Go and subscribe. I had to subscribe to his channel after this. And Glenn, I think you need to do videos and talk about these things because this would be great content. All right, let's keep it moving. Okay, I had to take a break after that one. So moving on to the next comment by Mrs. Jones, who is a member of the channel, the Go Political group. And Mrs. Jones said, wow, wait, that is Della's comment. Okay, here is Mrs. Jones' comment. Tiffany Henyard knows exactly what she's doing. Yes, she does. Tiffany sat on the board of trustees for 8 years. She knows the inside of how the money comes in now being a mayor. Thornton Township supervisor, having the whole principalities of Dalton and Thornton Township. Tiffany Henyard will hit the jackpot better than breaking in cars. Who knows what else she has done? I agree. The FBI went all the way back to her Big Burger business. Yeah, Good Burger. How ridiculous. One thing that I've noticed is that the mayor likes movies, likes quoting movie lines, is so into movies that she even ripped off one of my kids' favorite movies, Good Burger, and named her business after that, which is kind of an insult to our favorite movie. But yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing. And what happened during those 8 years of sitting on the board, acting like the sheriff of the board, where she was busting the chops of the former mayor every chance that she got and figuring out how the cheating was going on. And while people were thinking that, she's really on her P's and Q's and keeping things honest and watching what's going on, she was actually taking notes and then ever so cleverly implemented those same cheating procedures once she got in the position of power as the mayor. We are not fooled by that. We're definitely not fooled by that. She knows what she's doing. She learned from the best, from prior crooked people, but then she took it to a new level. She took it to a much higher level. She found out the ways that you can sneak things through or where the cracks in the system just happen to be, and then she exploited those cracks to the greatest degree that anyone could ever imagine. Excellent comment, Mrs. Jones. Now, moving right along to de la creme de la. Della is the person who taught me how to break down these videos. And I have to give proper credit where credit is due. I never would have been able to break down these videos had I not taken part with the breakdown crew in learning, watching Della doing videos that are sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours, or longer, going through every minute of those long meetings and figuring out exactly what was going on. So that's where I learned how to do this from the breakdown crew. So Della said, "Wow, what led you to this?" Well, it's because you taught me how to dig in. Now we see why they stopped letting Chris speak in meetings. Yeah, and there's another comment coming up about that. Thank you for bringing this out. And how come it hasn't hit my recommendations? I don't know. I'm glad it came and looked for you. Keep up the good work, Carlton. Yes, and by the way, you definitely want to tick the notification bell and check back to make sure that you are always subscribed, because sometimes people get dropped. The bots on YouTube work overtime trying to clean up the scammers, and sometimes they go overboard and will remove people from the videos and the channels that they subscribe to. So thank you again, Della. I have learned from the best. Next comment. Boy, this is a good one, okay? This one comes from Brian's Welding in Illinois. And Brian says, the fraudulent check, which is just so absurd. That's so ridiculous. How do you have a fraudulent check that's cashed? That's nonsense. That's the dumbest cover-up explanation for just stealing that I've ever heard. So he says the fraudulent check was the kickback payment to the mayor, and the real check was the actual payment to the contractor. This is basic Chicago operating procedures. The only difference with this administration is that they are too dumb to properly hide the corruption. I'm next door in Lansing, Illinois, and my welding business does a lot of work for local municipalities. It's all pay to play. Now, this is coming from somebody who knows by experience. I'm not just making this up. Been like that since Capone, and the outfit set up the whole system. Great video as always, Carlton. Brian, oh my goodness, you are so correct. And I had another comment from an individual from New York City who commented several videos ago. And he said that in New York City, it's all pay to play. And his comment was that they are smarter about the kickbacks, and they have a system set up where they legally do their kickbacks, because we have smarter organized crime in the city of New York. In Chicago, it's just blatant, it's outright. Some people do it the smart way, and in this case, they do it in the most just ignorant, dumb way where they don't cover their tracks. They need to go to some seminars in New York City and learn from the crime families how to do kickbacks in the proper way to cover everything up. Well, anyway, excellent comment, Brian. Next comment comes from member Steve Strack. Great video, brother. When Chris began to talk about that check, I think he was going to say it was a credit card payment, but quickly caught himself. That was the biggest tell in the whole video. That was the biggest tell. It was so obvious. It's too bad they couldn't go back and redact that statement and delete the video, but the information is out there now. And that's what just surprises me, that this administration is that dumb to leave so much evidence right there. And like I always say, the Board of Trustees meetings videos, it's a gold mine. It is a treasure trove of information, as was previously mentioned. All of the evidence is right there, and all we got to do is connect the DOTTS. Had to put that in there. It's all there. Moving on, the next comment comes from member John Luna. He said, I believe he was told to use the verbiage fraudulent cashing, which is the dumbest cover-up I have ever seen. I absolutely agree with you, John. And so the mayor probably told him, or maybe it was the administrator of Dalton, they told him what to say so that they can continue on with this process of cashing checks, calling it stolen, splitting the money. They probably split it. Maybe they kept the whole amount as the kickback, and then they issue another check. And the contractors who participate, they know the deal. They know the deal. The evidence is here, and our great and esteemed members of this channel have given me enough information to let me know that this is exactly what is going on. Next comment comes from my cousin Damon Askew, who lives in Chicago. And as I've told you before, I was born and raised in Chicago on the South Side, 99th and South LaSalle. I still have family all over Chicago. So Damon, thank you for being here and watching this video. And my cousin says, my problem is that she just moved on by saying, okay, that answers that one, like it's normal business practices to double pay a contractor for a job. Oh my. Damon, you're absolutely right. And in meeting after meeting, we see her pushing through and just glazing over these things, just like she does during public comments when people make their comments and bust her out for the wrongdoing that's going on. And then she says, next person, and doesn't even acknowledge it. It's as if she is entitled to do this. And I strongly believe that she has a sense of entitlement, that this is what everybody else does, and I have a right to steal, cheat, and get kickbacks like everyone else. So she thinks that she's a victim. We remember the infamous statement, y'all black, y'all out here beating and attacking on a black woman who's in power. So in other words, she feels that she's being picked on because why did you let everybody else steal? And now all of a sudden, you're not going to let the poll single black woman steal like everyone else? And so she thinks that she has a right to do this. She thinks that her rights have been infringed upon because we're not allowing her to steal and do this debauchery like everyone else has. Isn't that amazing? Now, overall, I think that the whole situation in Chicago is absurd. We're talking about this is Grand Central Station for corruption. And I don't know who's worse. I want to ask you the question. What is the capital city of corruption in the United States? Is it New York City or is it Chicago? Which one is it, guys? Which area is worse? I'm kind of leaning towards Chicago now. And I believe that both Chicago and New York are rooted in corruption, and it's backed up by a certain political party. And that party is the one that uses the donkey. Yeah, but the donkey of the political party in Chicago is a jackass. Yeah, now I'm not cursing. That's a biblical term. It's in the Bible. Look it up. If you look up the Democratic Party in the Old Testament, it says jackass. So these jackasses don't know how to implement proper corruption. They don't know the proper legal procedures of implementing kickbacks. It's so blatant and obvious. And what disgusts me the most is this, that the Attorney General won't do anything about it, that the FBI who's on the case is dragging their feet, that there is no recourse for going up above, over and above the police force because they're paid off. So it's a regime that's in full control. They can't go to the state police. They can't go to the Attorney General because they're connected to the party of corruption. And one thing that I mentioned to Ed Steve, I don't talk to, I've never spoken to any of the trustees. They've never carried on a conversation with me. I've reached out several times, but I've just not had any interaction with them. But Ed Steve speaks to me on a regular basis. And, I tell him what I think. I don't hold anything back. And I said, you know what? You guys need to get away from the Democratic Party. And if you're a good person, this is something to think about. So you have morals and principles, right? But you're in an organization that allows these things to take place. You are connected to a party that is rooted in corruption. So why would you participate in that? That's kind of like saying, okay, I think I'm a person of good moral standing. I abide by the rules and the laws of the land. So why would I associate with an organization that breaks the law? It's like if I just decided, well, I'm going to join the Gangster Disciples or Folk or the Bloods, the Crips. I'm not going to do that because it goes against my moral standards. I'm not one that I can say that I would want to be associated with an organization that is a crime family, okay? And so we have gangs, we have corruption, we have the mob, we have the crime families of the city of New York. And so if you're a person that has morals and you have good judgment, you abide by laws, you abide by the rules, why would you associate with that? That's just something to think about. Post in the comments, let me know. Do you think it's okay to align yourself with an organized crime family, which is the Democratic Party that presides over the Chicago area? That's all I got for this video, and I will be doing more follow-ups where we break these things down, and we're just going to have to feature these comments and do these follow-ups because this is such good information. And again, hats off to everyone who had commented. There were so many more, but I can only go through so many without doing a video that's several hours long. But good job. I am just not worthy of all this great work that you guys have done. Thank you for your participation. And I tell you what, Dolton Chronicles episode 4 is coming your way. I'm going to get back to editing and shut this video down so I can finish up so we can move on because I've still got to cover the Thornton May 31st meeting and that ridiculous Dalton board meeting that happened last night. Like and subscribe, tell a friend, pass the word. Thank you for participating. This is Carlton and I am out.